The following presentation is part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
Welcome to the Bombadcast. What is going on, Bombad people? Look, I got Gerry sitting right next to me. We're actually visiting for once. He came down. He flew down. He looks a little bit different. He went to a Creed concert and he came back looking like this. And I can't entirely figure out why. But in all seriousness, we got Eric Kotteman with us today with a very special guest. But I'll get to him in just a second. If you're listening to us for the first time, welcome to the Bombadcast. We're glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. And we also are affiliated with a couple other people, including Beyond. Oh, so close. Beyond the Blast Doors now. Look how nice that looks. Wow. Doesn't it look nice? Look, it's right.
Pretty.
It's right. Oh, damn it. I can't really. Regardless, we've got a bunch of shows in the network that you could enjoy if you enjoy Bombadcast. We got Around the Galaxy, Hala Chronicles, Beyond the Blast Doors Live, streaming Star Wars, and we've got Postcards from Galaxy's Edge. And to keep in mind one thing, a week from this air date is going to be the Beyond the Blast Doors Podathon. Yes, a 12-hour event, including, I don't know if I told you this,
No.
A 12-hour event of one giant continuous stream. Every podcast will be featured at one point. I might even have some special guests come on. Gerry's going to be here. Gerry's not going to be at a Creed concert, hopefully. We'll see. The Creed reunion tour that's...
Are you guys getting Rick McCallum?
Yeah, we're gonna get Rick McCallum. We're gonna get the person we're gonna get the mother of. We're gonna get Sebulba's mom.
Yeah,
and we're gonna talk how she made Sebulba. But in all seriousness, be sure to join the Podathon. We will have special guests, including, and I might be getting this way too soon because it hasn't been recorded, but it's been booked. We will have Alex Damon on to hang out.
Sweet,
so it's gonna be pretty cool. He's gonna have his first video debuted on the Beyond the Blast Doors network and Bombadcast. But anyway, with all that being said, this kind of stuff, all this information is also exclusive to our Patreon members, which will have Patreon meetings every other Sunday now. And we'll make sure, maybe we'll see, that's planned. We'll see how that goes. But with all that being said, if you're on Patreon, and if you want to follow us on Patreon, please do so. $5 a month at minimum, and you'll get all kind of exclusives, including episode topics. You'll have private Zoom meetings with some of the hosts of the Beyond the Blast Doors network. You'll even get some things from us that are coming further down the line, be it plans or also maybe even questions or things you want to submit to Around the Galaxy or Bombadcast. So stay tuned for that and make sure you follow us and give us your money. So with all that being said, you're listening to the Bombadcast. We're happy to have you. And taking Gerry's place is Eric Kotteman, what is this, the fifth time?
Oh, I don't know. Revenge of the Fifth? I don't know.
Maybe. But we're happy to have him on. And we also have a very, very special guest joining us. The one and only friend of Eric, I guess, originally.
Yeah, this is like an expanded universe.
It is. It's because, you know what, Eric, one thing, if you don't know Eric, he loves combining his friend groups and forcing people to hang out. And this is one of the ones that turned out really well for everyone involved because it's a great friendship that I've developed with this person, our next guest, and we all have had crazy, deep experiences together in the world of Star Wars, and we will definitely get to that in a moment. And this person is the one and only John Shaw. John, let me get you on the screen real quick. John, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing all right.
Fantastic. Look how nice he looks, Eric.
I know,
It
so
looks
clean
so
cut.
I know. Look at he's got the Shure microphone. I mean, you are real official, John. You don't even podcast. Yes.
Jedi matching with the shirt.
Look at
We're
that.
both Jedi Masters.
Got my badge. I know. I'm ready to go.
That's amazing. So when it comes down to it, it's kind of funny. I would not have met John if it was not for this guy here. Okay.
It's true.
And it's funny. It was one of those things where you know, when you meet someone for the first time, you have all these preconceived ideas of like, you know, what they are. Because obviously Eric had told me all about you, John, at first. And I was like, oh, this guy sounds pretty cool. Sounds interesting. And then I'm sure the same was said on the other end, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just funny.
It's been so long now.
And
Yeah,
like,
it does.
since our meeting, we worked on small film projects together. And like, I don't know, I've watched you develop this idea for Tavern Brawl since I think one of the first times Eric and I ever hung out by ourselves. He showed me the footage from the first from the Wayfinder. I'm pretty sure, right? That was one of the first things we did because we were testing the camera.
You heard his Star Wars slip up?
Who, me?
You just called the name of the thing is Wayfarer, and you called it Wayfinder, which is a Star Wars
God.
term.
That's amazing.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's a Star Wars show.
That's actually
Maybe one day.
They should have called it a holocron. That's for a whole different.
That would have been cool.
It's a whole different thing. But no, it's funny. Like I've before I had met John at Celebration, I'd heard a lot about him, and I don't know. There's something about Celebration that is so uniting, and I'm glad to have met this one because I did not know him, and I knew of him, but I did not know him in 2017, and then I meet you, John, and it's all really weird, and I guess I don't know, circumstantial how all this kind of fell into place. And I guess what I want to say is from the top, gentlemen, today, right now, the airing of this episode would have been all of us not flying. We would have already been there. We would have been in Anaheim, probably sitting at the Kenobi or something panel. Like Friday would have been Mandalorian, obviously, but we don't even know what Saturday would have been. So let's all have a moment of silence for the fact that we are not at Celebration.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Long enough.
Could have been Kevin Feige's, but that's a whole nother thing.
Oh,
that would have been good.
See? There's something. It's something about it. I don't know. Oh Lord.
Well, we'll find out when we're all 33.
In like 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
Literally.
But that's the funny thing. There's a magical experience when it comes to Celebration. And John, I kind of want to start this off with you because you are the guest of the show. When it comes to Celebration, John, there's only one way to do it. And what is the one way to do it?
The one way to do it would be...
Here we go.
It's all tangled up, but you just get it, yeah.
There we go. Jedi Master VIP, baby.
Jedi Master VIP. You know, if you've been to Celebration and you've done it, as we have, we've been twice. And man, that second time was an entirely different experience. It was, I think you had a little taste of it. Eric did as well. And I think we can all agree that it is absolutely the way to do it.
Yeah. And kind of funny enough, you know, we all went to 17 and 19 and we were supposed to go to 20, but 17, I think for all three of us was just like, I wouldn't say comparatively, I would say it was awful, but
it wasn't a bad experience.
It wasn't bad, but there was, and
it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. And like the biggest panel I got into was the one that was the Disney park panel, but from 17. So it was just like,
that's better than us.
Yeah.
We got into like the Warwick Davis panel on like the nosebleed section.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that was like the only one we got into because we didn't even understand I mean, it was kind of a bad system in 2017, and I think everybody agreed with that. There was no lottery. It was like straight up these paper wristbands. You had people waited like 36 hours for them.
Yep.
And then we didn't even know that. And so the day we got there, it was like, hey, I wonder how we get into these panels. Like everyone's in these panels, and we just kept asking people. And then we showed up to this room, and then people were pointing different directions. And by the time we got there, they're like, here's a wristband for like Warwick Davis. And then that's all we have. We were like, all right, I guess we'll do that. And then we kept seeing every panel we'd go in, we kept seeing like these people walk past us. And I was like, who are these people?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's the Jedi Master VIPs. Like, they get to go first. I just remember thinking, damn, like how do I get to be that?
Exactly.
And I remember we were just like, okay, next time we do it,
that's the Jedi
Master. Yeah,
I agree. And you know, from the experience I had in 19, it was pretty incredible.
But even in 19, the ticketing system was better. There was a lottery. Like you were able to even get into as just a regular.
Yep.
You were able to get into some pretty good panels.
Yeah,
but
not where y'all were sitting.
Not where we were sitting, but at least you were able to get in. And the theater was almost in like a stadium.
Yes,
in Chicago, the McCormick Place,
which was so different than the other Orlando one, which was just a room that had no angle to it.
It was like an auditorium,
completely flat, and you just had to sit there and look over people the whole time. But
we never even walked into that room. Actually, I don't think.
I think I was in it for the closing ceremony, and that is it. And it wasn't even that big. Like when it comes down to it, it was like probably no bigger than like 2 football fields. Like really, it was just kind of it was there as it was supposed to be. Yeah. But John, the reason why I wanted to have you on for this episode in particular is because I know you started out as a pretty casual fan in terms of Star Wars, and I know you're a man of cinema. I know you love movies and TV, but like I don't know, for someone to like want to go to a Star Wars celebration at the level of fan you were at, it must have took a really pushy person to force you to do it. And I don't know who that person could be, but fill us in on that. So when you were growing up, you told me in conversations before that you actually did not see a Star Wars movie at all in the theater until you were what age? Because this is pretty shocking for someone that literally was a VIP person for Star Wars. All right. How old were you when you saw your first Star Wars in theater?
Let's see. What year did Force Awakens come out? 15. That was 15. So, oh man, I would have been 22, I think.
First Star Wars, didn't even see
no 20. I would have been like 20 or 21 because that was 5 years ago. Yeah, I would have been about 20, 21. Yeah, that was the first Star Wars movie that I saw in a theater. Yeah, to this day. I mean, that was the first one. I grew up watching all the big, movie series. I grew up watching a lot of Harry Potter, watched Star Trek, everything. All my friends were into Star Wars, and I knew the basics of like, oh, that's Luke Skywalker, that's Darth Vader, but I don't know. I never had anybody, like my parents weren't into it. Nobody ever just sat me down and was like, you need to watch these movies. These are amazing. And so even what's crazy enough, even as the prequels were coming out, like I remember my friends were going to see it. And I remember just thinking like, I don't really understand, because then I did the classic like kid where I was like, I don't understand that, how is this episode 1, 2, and 3 when 4, 5, and that was all confusing. But I really had never even seen a movie until I was probably 15. I had seen clips, and I knew the classic lines, all that stuff. But by the time I was 15, 16, a friend of mine sat me down, couldn't believe that I hadn't seen the movies, sat me down and was like, dude, you have to watch all these movies. We're watching them all this weekend right now. And this friend was not Eric Kotteman, believe it or not. I didn't know Eric then, but I'm sure he would have if we were friends.
Same exact thing. Yeah.
Or you, if we were friends. But anyway, so we watched them. It was like, DVD quality on an old tube TV that was like 40 feet away from me. The TV was, maybe a 32 inch, and it was like 30 feet away from me. I wasn't that into it. I mean, I was watching it, and I remember just being really confused. I was kind of in and out. Like I would pop in for a little bit, go eat dinner, come back, finish. I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on in this one. And they all kind of blended together. It was like 1, 2, like we just had them going straight. And so I remember thinking like, okay, these are cool. Like I paid more attention to the prequels because
they're better.
Yeah, exactly. But those, we started with the prequels, and so I missed a lot. And like I just wasn't, I don't know, at the end of it I was like, oh cool, like glad I can say I have seen Star Wars now. Nobody can give me shit for it anymore. I've seen Star Wars, but I hadn't really. And so it wasn't until I heard about Force Awakens coming out, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm a man of cinema, as you said. And I was like, I'm going to give Star Wars another chance. I was probably 19, 18 at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to buy the whole, all 6 movies on Blu-ray. I'm going to put them on my projector, crank up the sound. I have an awesome sound system. I'm going to watch I'm going to go one a night and watch all the Star Wars movies. Cause I was like, I want to.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. I was like,
by yourself?
By myself. Yeah. I watched it with my girlfriend, who she had never seen a single one. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then by the end of all 6, I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I'd never experienced in Blu-ray. I had not experienced, the masterful music, just everything. It was like, it hit me all at once. And it was pretty perfect timing because pretty much like 3 months later, I met Eric, who him and I had a film class together. And yeah, we had a film class together. It was good timing because I had gone and seen Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Really, really liked it. I went and saw it a few times. I was just kind of getting my feet in I didn't really know about the entire Star Wars fandom. I knew that, people were into it, but I didn't quite know the depth of it. And so as I met Eric, him and I became friends. We started talking about Star Wars a lot. And I was like, hey, look, I'm just kind of getting into it. I'm a pretty casual fan, but I'm getting there. And him and I developed a friendship, and we how long had we been friends, Eric? Was it a year? It had been a year because we met in January of 2016.
Yeah, it would have been a little over a year.
And so, out of the blue, he was like, hey, I know this is crazy, but I know you're not that into Star Wars, but you're like the only friend I know that would come with me and do something crazy like this. There's a convention called Star Wars Celebration. I don't know much about it. All I know is we got to get tickets. It's in Orlando. We'll go to Disney World too. It'll be fun. It'll be like a trip. He's like, even if you're not that into Star Wars, like it'll be fun. So I remember thinking like, okay, that sounds pretty crazy, but that's like right up my alley. Like I love conventions. I love going on trips. I love Disney World. I was like, whatever. I was like, this will be fun. Even if I'm not that into it, I'll still have a good time because it's just a convention, I go to conventions all the time that I've not really been that into. So I was like, whatever. And that leads us into 2017. We showed up the first day and I was completely, I had underestimated. I had a lot of like preconceived notions about Star Wars fans and Star Wars in general, but I definitely went in like, a 20% fan and I left like an 80 or 90% fan that 3 day. And we did it completely wrong. Like we didn't even get the 4-day pass. We bought them all separate. We spent like $400. We weren't there the last day. We stayed really far away from the convention center. We didn't get into a single panel, minus like 2. We pretty much just stood on the show floor and watched the live, which was fun. That was awesome. It was an experience doing that. So even doing it totally wrong, we still had a blast and it was really fun. And we went with another mutual friend, Wes, who was also, I would say, more of a Star Wars fan. He grew up with it more than I did, but I think he left with the same sentiment as well, that I was not, like neither him or I were expecting the level of excitement and just that religious experience that we talked about. That it was just this awesome experience getting to watch the trailer with everybody, when the 40th anniversary panel busted out, we were
still in the car and I'm screaming in the car. George Lucas is there. George Lucas is there.
Yeah, we were freaking out.
I'm screaming because
we were pretty sure that was the day we got lost in the minivan. We like ended up an hour away from the convention.
Were y'all in your minivan too?
No. We rented one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, that's a whole conversation itself.
Yeah.
The nice thing about 2017 Celebration was, I didn't really know much about Celebration until Star Wars podcasting became a part of my life, and I watched all the guys at Collider, the old school version, cover the 2015 one with the Force Awakens trailer. And so from that moment, I was like,
I gotta go.
I'd never even heard of it. I'd never even heard the word Star Wars Celebration. I still didn't even really know what it was until I showed up. Like it was that crazy. And that's just, Eric knew that about me, that he's like, I'm that kind of person that I'll just go and do something ridiculous like that.
Absolutely.
But the thing about it is you know it's not going to be a bad time. Now, it might not be the ideal time of what you want to do, but like you just said, I mean, we same with Katie and I, we just didn't have the full experience. The funnest things we did were actually after the convention, when we went out to eat in Orlando. We drove around and saw the nightlife and stuff. But like, I don't know, the difference between Chicago and Orlando was literally day and night. Like, it was insanely different.
Yeah, completely polar opposites for us.
Like, even in like in terms of like it being a cohesive experience, like there were some days at the Orlando celebration where I was like, man, I'm glad I came, even though I didn't like do anything. Like, I don't remember the showroom floor from Celebration. Like, I just don't. Like, that 17 celebration. But I can almost, like, in my dreams, walk through, like, every booth at the Chicago one. I don't know. It's weird. It's like my brain, like, just like, obliterated the memory of 17 and replaced all of 2019 Celebration. It's weird.
All I remember from 2017 is standing in front of the Star Wars Live show floor for, like, 7 hours. I feel like we were just sitting there and just like trying to get on the camera, like watching everything. You know, we did the whole watching the
Last Jedi
was it the last? Yeah, it was the Last Jedi trailer.
You there?
Yeah, it was sick.
Yep, watching that, and did the whole Scott experience of being surrounded by everyone screaming, and
we're like, what does ending the Jedi mean? What does this mean?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's the best.
It was a great trailer.
Yeah.
I gotta tell one story because like we don't talk about this enough. But it has a Star Wars link. So we're walking the showroom floor, and Facebook Live was like, I guess, just becoming like very, very popular.
Yeah.
And we see this, average height looking man just like walking, talking to his phone.
He was short.
And John goes, who's this guy? Like, just like live stream himself. And I look at the back of his head and I go, that's Jamie Costa. And he's like, he goes, who? I'm like, the Robin Williams, like, because that video just blown up.
Yeah.
Instantly, I knew who it was. And so we pulled up I follow him on Facebook. I pulled up his page on Facebook, and like there I am, like 10 seconds delay on Jamie Costa's Facebook page. And I was like,
amazing.
And we went up and got a picture with him. It was awesome.
Yeah, he was a super nice guy. I was like,
what are the odds?
We were all like, all of us are like, I guess like somewhere on like the eye in the Myers-Briggs between John West and I. And so we just like voted that I was the bravest one in that moment. And I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Did you guys see his fan film?
Yes.
I have not actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he's got two.
Yeah, he's got two.
The Star Wars related?
Yeah, Star Wars fan film. Isn't it a Kenobi one?
The newest one is the Kenobi one.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's really what, dude, James Arnold Taylor's in it.
What?
Like, not Obi-Wan.
You haven't seen that, Scott? I've seen something Star Wars that Scott hasn't seen.
You need to see it. It's really good. Shout out to Jamie. Like, it was done
Jamie.
Really, really well.
That's amazing.
Got to get Jamie on the Bombadcast.
Hey, that would be a hard pull, I'd imagine.
He'd do it.
Oh, yeah.
He's awesome. Just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Amazing impressionist.
See, there's moments like that don't happen anywhere else. Like my strangest one was when I won the golden ticket to meet Mark Hamill, which is a whole different story in general. That was really the best moment of 17. I mean, it was amazing. But the strangest one is when I was walking backstage. They were guiding us behind the Star Wars stage to get this photo. And literally Ashley Eckstein walks by me and I go, hey, it's you. And she responds with, and it's you. And we walked past each other and I'm like, what just happened? Like, that was so strange. It's just stuff like that like.
And your John Knoll.
That one's up. I gotta bring it up later. That one's a good one.
That's a good one.
But what I want to kind of get into is the fact that like Celebration, at least if you're a big Star Wars fan or if you're like you are, John, somewhere in the middle, once you leave, there is something that like leaves with you. And we've talked about it before, that it is truly down to its core a very religious kind of experience. Now, I'm a man of worship to a certain extent, but I will say this: I am not super devout, and just not, for some reason right now at my age, I'm just not there. But what I will say is, every time you leave a celebration, it is like the last day at summer camp, or it's like the last day of school.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, man, it is a huge chunk of my life that's over. And it's only been 5 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially the most recent one, that's where I met you. It's where I met Gerry. A lot of people I do podcasting with, I met there. So it's like, it's a weird thing. And like every year, I'm afraid it's going to get even more weirder. I don't know. There's something to it. There's something to it that's hard to explain.
I know. I think it is going to get weirder going forward, because it's, as we get more, in depth in the community, especially for you, with your podcast now, but like, as we become, more interested in the community and there's more stuff being made, and I feel, and we know how to do Star Wars Celebration.
Yes.
So we got so much more out of it in 19, because we went to all the panels. We were literally, on the front row for, a lot of it, and getting to experience all that with like everyone around you. And that's honestly, like, VIP has all of its perks. There's there's a bunch of different reasons that makes it worth it. But one of the best reasons is like, you are with the most hardcore of the hardest core people who are spending this kind of money to be a VIP. These people, and funny enough, it's a lot of older people. It's a lot of middle-aged.
Mm-hmm.
We had probably the average age was what, 30 or 40. Would you say, Eric? I would say, but like still the enthusiasm and everything when that trailer ran. I mean, even in the whole room, it was magnetic. But like especially in that group, it was just amazing. But yeah, like you said, leaving it felt like the last day of school or some kind of summer camp, and it's to the point where I can remember almost every day, even on like the bad days where we were standing in line at the merch store for 4 hours. It was still fun because we got to see everybody in line. People were dressed up, people were interacting, talking. We still had a great time.
Yeah, there was like a Jedi Master mythos. Like, because there was like people.
You start to get to know people.
There's a group chat, a Discord server where y'all like.
Yeah, we were all talking.
See some pretty interesting things, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a Bombad world out there. So
people got the Bombad lifestyle. Yeah. It's funny, like y'all bring up good points, because there's something to that exclusivity that kind of takes to the next level. Like you said, I actually had the opportunity to get into like 3 of the biggest panels, which were one of them thanks to you, John, but 2 of them were a part of the lottery system, which Mandalorian, actually shout out to John Hoey with the Resistance broadcast. He hooked me up with that one, but the other one was the Phantom Menace panel that I got to get into, and then Clone Wars was because of you. And like, there's something about being in the room at the same exact time, especially with Mando, when they showed us footage that would not be seen for 6 more months. There's something about that's like truly. I don't know, like, you're the only person right now seeing this.
Oh, yeah. For Mando, when that was happening, and Jon Favreau was like, hey, nobody filmed this, nothing. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then when the people pulling out their phones, they were like walking up to people individually with their phones out and like tapping them or like grabbing their phones and stuff. I was
I saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
I was trying to do it covertly, and literally a Disney SS. Like straight up walked up and he
was never seen again.
Exactly. Literally, it was a lady in a wheelchair, and he got down like kind of squat and was like, "You're gonna have to delete that right now. I'm gonna have to watch it delete it." Like I watched
Jon Favreau just because get him out of here.
He literally, but like that's the kind of experience you have whenever you can go to a celebration, and like we saw that would not be seen literally until that November 14th. You know what I mean? From April 14th till November. That's so long. That's insane.
And had the whole cast there, the whole Mandalorian cast there, which was nuts.
And I want to get to it later, but the fact that little guy wasn't leaked or anything was seen.
Yeah, we had no idea.
Had no idea. Insanity. But I don't know, John. It's a funny thing. There you go. Exactly. It's a funny thing because I would have not have met John if it wasn't for Eric. And thank you for that, by the way. I'm very happy I'm friends with John now. But when it comes down to it, I don't know, Eric. You can give us a little bit of your spiel. Why do you like making friends of different groups hang out? Because that's something you like doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know it's funny because seeing people who are older than me, like our parents' generation, who tend to just give up on their friends or just like, I don't know, I guess it's because they were raised in the era where like if you move to Iowa and you lived in Louisiana, like you're done. Yeah. Your friendship's done.
Yeah.
So, we have the benefit of being so connected.
Yeah.
And when you have good friends, I mean, like, this is so kind of corny, but like, I think it's Star Wars that like kind of taught me, like, your friends become your family and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like I have a good sense of knowing the kind of people who would enjoy each other. So the more I started feeling like I was being pulled towards these people, I'm just like, like we can make a cinematic universe right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And like, I don't know, it's crazy. I don't want to get like too into it, but like, I met James, who's one of John's partners for a project we're working on, because of like this crazy experience John had when he was younger, and like they're still connected, and he lives in Oregon.
Yeah, it's bizarre the way that things work. And I mean, Eric and I only met because, first of all, Eric it was a fluke. Eric had been to my apartment before through a friend of mine that he was hanging out with, and he was like, Eric was into film. He's like, my friend was like, oh, my roommate's into film, but we never crossed paths or anything. And so Eric and I had a class together that we never said a word to each other because we just sat on opposite sides and never met. And then so we, as a fluke, we were in this production film class, and we had to write down what we wanted to do on our like intro syllabus. It was like, oh, do I want to be in editing? Do I want to do cinematography? Go down the list and order 1 to 10 of what you want to do. So I did like camera, editing, all this. And my number 10 was sound, because I just couldn't stand sound. It was my worst thing. I was like, I don't want to do sound. Number 10. Sure enough, I show up day 1, and my teacher's like, oh, you're in the sound group. And I was like, okay, well, I was like, I wonder what other dumbass is going to be in the sound group with me. And he's like, you're with Eric. And then so this Eric walks up to me and is like, hey, I know, your mutual friend Kevin, and I've been to your apartment before. And that was like his lead in is, I've been to your apartment before.
That's amazing.
I was like, all right. And so then so we worked together, and that was a very bonding class because we spent a lot of hours together working, especially like off school time as well. So as Eric and I became friends, that was kind of a fluke that like, if there's a good chance that if I would have been put in another group, we wouldn't have become friends. Exactly. I like to think we would have, but you never know.
There's something about,
it's like very Star Wars, honestly.
Well, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I've been in situations where I've been working with a bunch of dumbasses, and there's one guy that has a like mind like me. And like, even it's because you're around people that maybe you don't agree with, maybe you don't even like, that you find the one person you do like, and it's like, ding, and like never goes away. Like, even when you get older, like if you think back about that one course you had in college, even if, you don't talk to that person anymore, you still probably think, I remember that working really well in that one moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I think what stapled it was going to Celebration, honestly.
Wow. So
yeah, because like he could have graduated probably a semester or two before me if he really wanted to.
That could have been it.
And
that's nuts.
That one class could have been it, and we could have just been like,
we would have been acquaintances. We would have probably been. But yeah, I mean, going on a trip with somebody, that's a different story. And I think that I want to tell the story of how you and I met, Scott, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'd be honored.
That's a fun story. So every now and then Eric would kind of casually mention, oh yeah, I knew this guy from my school that went to Star Wars Celebration in 2017. And I was like, oh, that's weird. He didn't want to like meet up. And you're like, yeah, no, we tried to make it work, but it didn't work. I was like, okay, whatever. I put it to the back of my head. So then 2019 rolls around, we got the crew going, we show up. And then Eric's like, hey, so that guy from Baton Rouge he's here too. And I was like, what? There's someone else from Baton Rouge here and you're friends with him? And he was like, yeah, I'm going to try and like, figure out if we can meet up. And I was like, okay, whatever. That's such an Eric thing to do.
It is.
It is. And so I was like, oh, whatever, sounds good. So then we were eating dinner one night. He's like, oh, actually him and his girlfriend are going to come. And we were at Illuminati's in Chicago, Illinois, which is a great pizza place. If you haven't done, fantastic pizza. Pretty sure it was like snowing outside or something, but it was cold. And in rolls Scott and Katie. I'm pretty sure Katie was there too. And I had a mutual friend. I had a friend there too. And, we started talking, we hit it off pretty much instantly. And then I feel like by the next day when we went out to eat the next night too.
Yep. That was after the, John's talking about the Thursday night was when we went to Illuminati's. That was day one. That was day one. And no panel that day, strictly just walking around, seeing and talking to people, which was a really good day. That was like the welcoming, I feel I'm getting comfortable, I'm getting the layout. And then by the time Friday rolls around, I mean you're head first, I'm pretty sure the episode 9 panel was at like 9 a.m. You know what I mean? Like y'all had got there like 8, y'all still were VIP. And like, I don't know, that night before we were all hyped up. I'll never forget that. And then that night when we went to eat at I forget what was the place we went
Portillo's.
to eat. Yep.
The hot dog place.
When we ate there, we sat there for I think an hour and a half and just
talking about the trailer.
I'll never forget looking at Katie and she was just like, and it's like
there are more. There are 2 of them.
Yes. I don't know. There's something about that, and I remember that day actually after the panel, y'all had met us up literally right after the Rise of Skywalker panel. I was like coming down from that high, and Eric did an impersonation of me watching the trailer because I haven't even seen you about the trailer yet, but he did the impersonation of the no fucking way, holy shit. He kept doing the isms, and like Gerry had just met y'all, and it was just so perfect. And like, I don't know, I wish Gerry was on right now because that was a very vivid memory of me.
Yeah, I forgot I got to meet Gerry there too.
And I remember this too. I remember someone had left their episode 9 beanie, and I like buy like the return tray for your food, and I was straight up. I grabbed him like, who does this belong to? Does this belong to anyone? Didn't get a response from anyone. I put that in my backpack
that's amazing.
So quick. But I don't know. There's something about like meeting someone new at a celebration, and like fortunately, dude, 2017. I was antisocial. It was just Katie and I against the world. That's how it felt. Same with y'all, I'd imagine. It was just, y'all had become friends with old boy though. Old boy at the stage.
Oh man, why am I blanking? Cam.
Yes, Cam. Yes.
Cam, the actor. He's one of the stage guys. I guess
he's the warm-up guy is like his official title. He's the guy that is like before that on the Star Wars live stage. He's the guy that's like warming everybody up. If you've been to Celebration, you know this guy. He's kind of tall, skinny, good-looking guy. Looks like Woody from Toy Story.
Yes.
And that's actually who he works for Disney, and he plays Woody.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In the park, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really good guy. Kind of, we made some memes out of like his like tactics, but they worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's good. He's good at his job.
And
that.
Did he remember y'all at 19 though?
I don't know. I don't think he remembered us, but like we were commenting on his daily Instagram posts, coming up with like hashtags like Cam for president and all this stuff.
Oh, by the end of 2019, he remembered, and like even they were giving out those Stormtrooper exclusive Star Wars Live shirts, and then Wes and I walked up,
asked him,
and we were like, "Hey, like, how do you?" And he was like, "Oh, they're handing them out like the guests and stuff." And he was like, "What size are you guys?" And I was like, "Oh, medium and large." And he was like, "Okay, hold on." And he went to the back and snuck us one. He's like, "Don't tell anybody." But
That's how.
like, yeah.
That's the magic of it. So, with all that being said, literally meeting someone from Baton Rouge in Chicago is such a weird thing. And then, like, Gerry lived in Michigan 2 hours away. I meet Gerry there, and now look at this. We've built an empire. Like, come on. Like, we made Bombadcast, and then all these other people, these content creators that I know really well now who are there, and fans of who listen to the podcast were there. It's just like, it's so bizarre. Like, David Amoletti, the guy who does Beyond the Blast Doors, literally, like, we hung out and talked to them, and now we're a part of this group. It's just, like, so strange. It's just like these things will happen. A really profound experience. And like, I remember, you being kind enough, John, to give us your VIP badges for the Clone Wars panel. Me and Gerry got into Clone Wars second row, I'm pretty sure. I remember the guy we were next to.
Yeah, because at that time I hadn't seen Clone Wars.
Yes, so John was like, look, Game of Thrones starts tonight. Yeah. Like, take these.
Looking back on it, I'm like, knowing how Game of Thrones ended, and now I'm actually watching Clone Wars.
Yes.
I'm halfway through it right now, and now I'm like, oh, that would have been cool to go to see it. But I don't regret it, because if I would have seen it then, I would have spoiled it, and I would have not understood. Actually. So now I'm glad you guys got to enjoy that.
See, so John blessed Gerry and I with using the badges, and we did, and it was... It
was the birth of the Bombad.
It was the birth of the Bombad, baby. And we it was like everyone, Dave was there, everyone was there, like the whole cast was there. It was one of these things, and John, I want you to bring up your story about who y'all sat next to at the Fallen Order panel, because this is the kind of weird shit that just happens at Celebration. Yeah. And like this one in particular is such a bizarre scenario. I mean, I guess you can both tell it.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
It's well, so Fallen Order, we were lucky because it was a double down panel. There was something before it, I think Disney Parks, and then Fallen Order was right after, and it was 45 minutes later. And so they had this thing where if you stayed, you could, when everybody left, like advance to whatever seat, So a lot of people had left. And so we were on the 4th row for Disney Parks. And so I was like, hey, the front row is open. Let's go sit on the front row for the Fallen Order panel. And this was actually the only panel that we got to sit on the front row for. So that was a cool experience. And then they had like 7 seats roped off next to us. I was like, I guess we'll sit next to this. So we're just sitting there. And then some guy comes out with a piece of computer paper, and it says, reserved for Warwick Davis and family. And I was sitting there like, are we about to sit next? And so sure enough, like the panel starts, Warwick is like introducing everybody as he does. And then sure enough, like this whole, group of like little people come on out, like, all in like crutches and wheelchairs and stuff, and sit down next to us. And sure enough, like the guy next to me is Warwick Davis's son, who's actually in The Rise of Skywalker.
You're sitting next to Wicked's son.
Literally
canonically and not canonically.
Yeah, this kid next to me has been on set, knows probably what happens.
Has been directed by J.J. Abrams already.
Yeah. And is one of the last people seen in the Skywalker.
True.
That's true.
Yeah. It's true.
So that was an awesome experience because it was just so random. And then what's the redhead guy's name?
Cameron Moynihan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a fan of him because I had seen him in the show Shameless, which is actually set in Chicago, and a few other shows he had been in. He had been in a DC show. I think he played the Joker. And was it like Arrow or Batman? There was some Batman, I don't know, Gotham or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was Gotham.
It's Gotham.
Yeah, he played the Joker, which was cool. So I was a huge fan of him, but he ran up and like high-fived everybody on the front row, which was cool.
Yeah, that happens.
So
a lot of red cameras in our face too. Like
yes,
a lot, and like was like Wes not there? For some
reason? Wes was. The only reason I know he's there is because Wes took home that piece of computer paper that said reserved for Warwick.
He did.
He still has it.
Memento. Okay, so
I have a picture of it.
The guy must have gotten a 2-shot of me and John a whole bunch. I'm like, all right, let's look at each other and like look approving, and like we're like sitting there clapping. I'm like,
Yeah, like, oh, this is good.
I'm like, we're going to be in something that Lucasfilm puts out. It hasn't happened yet.
Man.
But they have that stock footage somewhere.
They have
in
one
San
of me
Francisco.
too. But they have one of me that I had the Mando poster, and they were like, let's get a video of you real quick, man. I'm like, all right, and I had my hand on the poster, and I did like one of these.
Dude, I'm surprised they haven't shared
something like that.
I'm surprised they haven't shared your viral video.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd imagine like
they'll do it. Like if they should. It's on TikTok right now.
Yeah.
People. Scott is now getting a second wave.
If you search Star Wars trailer reaction, you're the first one.
Wow.
Oh, that's insane.
I've done it before where I've opened incognito windows up and has no search history, no caches, no eggs, and literally
that's what I'm doing right now. Star Wars trailer reaction, and you're number one, which is awesome.
It's incredible. And it's one of those things like especially that moment, it's such an unreal experience. And there was one that we all shared together too, whenever we were going into the Doug Chang panel for the Phantom Menace art. And we were stoked to begin with because
we love the Phantom Menace.
We love the Phantom Menace and we love Doug Chang. And y'all actually had the privilege to meet him, I think, the next day. Mm-hmm. But we're all going in. And Eric, typical Eric, like you said, we're all eyes. I think I'm the most eye of them all, right? On the, or whatever they call it, what's the thing?
No. You are on the other side.
I'm an E?
You're an E.
I'm an E. Okay.
Extroverted.
Yes, extroverted. So, I forget. So, Eric is literally.
Eric has hawk eyes, and I see everyone everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I just go, without the full sentence coming out of my mouth, I'm like, there's John.
No. And then literally in my little monkey brain, I'm like, don't picture. And I can be honest here. I'm good at making it not awkward. Yeah. And I'm like, Mr. Knoll, is there any way I can get a picture with you, quick, man? And he's like, sure, make it quick. And literally, I got the photo. And there's two, one really blurry one and one good one. And then y'all were all like, what the fuck? There's no way he's doing this. And then I proceeded to, because I'm not the kind of person who's going to walk away. I have to say at least one thing. And I remember touching him. I go, dude, that scene in Rogue One, whenever the Star Destroyer cuts the other one in half. I said, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He goes, well, thanks. I really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun making that movie. And then literally, I'll never forget the guy in front of me when Eric said, that's John Knoll. The security guy was like, oh, that's why I'm escorting him. Because he was so confused. And we walked in the panel and literally John Knoll just went to the other side.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second. That's another fun thing about Star Wars Celebration. There are probably millions and millions of Star Wars fans who are actual Star Wars fans. Yeah. But we're in this weird.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
There's a celebrity. Knew. There's a celebrity to us.
ILM baby
of these content creators and people who develop these movies, and they could just be walking the showroom floor.
Yeah.
And I think people were tweeting at one point that Jon Favreau was just
walking
on the showroom floor.
Oh, yeah.
One of the probably one of the most powerful men in Hollywood right now.
Oh yeah, right now, of course.
Just probably in his little blue blazer and jeans.
But he had his Space Odyssey shirt on at that panel and everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just he's just one of those dudes, and John Knoll was definitely one of those ones that would just walk right by, and and he was literally there to see his friend give a speech. Think about that for a second. On a movie that he also worked on 20 years later.
Yeah.
It's just
that was one of the best panels too. And
it
then
was.
I think all of us were there for the David music panel for the fans, which was incredible.
And transcendent.
Yeah.
I don't think that one's on YouTube. I still don't think that one's on YouTube.
Okay.
That was a really good one. His one last in 2017 on Rogue One was still I remember stuff from it because it was so good.
Yeah. He's a great speaker.
The music of Rogue One. Yeah, it was incredible.
There's something about being there in that moment and having to kind of pay attention to everything and everyone. Because
absorb it all.
Literally, one of my favorite moments was this dude. We were waiting in line for, I think it was just me and Gerry and Katie, and I think we were going to the cosplay thing, and this dude was dressed as Zeb from Rebels, and it was insane because Zeb's purple and 6 feet tall, and this person was in this incredible Zeb cosplay, and you're your brain, you're in a whole different dimension, and like you're not experiencing true reality like at all. You know what I mean? Like at some points, like I didn't realize I was hungry. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's lunchtime, I have to eat. You know, like I'm a human being. Like, so much that happens at this convention, be it, you know, being at the big panels or just going to a smaller panel and enjoying it. Like I went to a podcast panel and it was incredible. You and I tried getting into the Jedi Council and we couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
And I feel like it's such a unique experience for me because I went into the first one as a casual fan, and I was probably in the, you know, half a percentile of people who were casual fans there. I mean, there were plenty of spouses and like people who weren't people who aren't into it, but like
and 5-year-olds.
And 5-year-olds.
Little boys and girls.
But like if you go into it with an open mind and willingness to accept the fandom, you will become a fan. And like it's hard not to. And I'm sure you have experienced that with Katie. Like just for you, it's hard to not be a fan because, you know, she's had this experience like you know, with Celebration and everything, and, you know, secondhand from you being a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about like your willingness to accept it, because I know, you know, my girlfriend is a fan, but I know if she went, she wouldn't, you know, get the same experience out of it, because I don't think she would go into it wanting to get that experience.
Exactly.
And it was like, I went into it with an open mind, like thinking I want to get the most I can out of this and absorb the most I can. And I did. And, you know, I think that's what really made it such a good experience in 2017. And like I said, I came out like a 90% fan. And then I went in 2019 and came out like probably 120% fan. So
it's one of these experiences that like you can talk about it for years, and like I'll reminisce on those memories for as long as I live. And like, I don't know, there was a moment at the Tross panel, and you can literally see it in the reaction video if you pay close enough attention, to where it's over and we got the view that my friend had gotten of me and Gerry and Katie in the background, that reaction.
Yeah.
And oh my God, like at one point Katie's wiping tears from her eyes, because it's not just the trailer that was so good. It was
the audience
experiencing it with literally in y'all's room 20,000 people. Our room,
that was insane.
Our room probably was the same number, and they're all watching one thing. And like I explain this to my students because they're always like, "Why did you cry during it?" And I'm like, "You'll understand one day." But when you experience something tragic or profound, like with a group of people, it's like this. It's like they take your one emotion and feeling and elevate it, and like it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason we felt like a religious experience, because that's how a lot of religion works, is when you're in a group of people. Like that's why organized religion is so big. It's because when you're in a group and you feel something and everyone else is on the same page as you, everybody's feeling this, it amps it up. So like, you know, if you're all together, you know, singing a worship song that everybody knows the words to and everybody's singing, all worshiping God, then it's like, I'm feeling this so much more. And that's what, you know, kind of deep seeds you into this. And so it's a similar experience with Star Wars, because if I would have been at home watching that trailer, I would have been excited, but I would not have had the reaction that I mean, I think we were jumping up, screaming.
And y'all two are some tame people.
I don't scream, but I was screaming.
We were like pulling on each other. Like, And then, it was just, it was, you know, I always say it's my sport. Like, and then just, you know, we're sitting there marveling.
You can't lose the sport though. That's the best part.
No, you don't lose in the situation of Celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
Necessarily. But, you know, we're sitting there and then the lights go red and we're just like, what's going on? We don't have any like wide shots. It's just our view. Yeah. And we're like, what is happening? Like, why is it so red? And people are just like murmuring a little bit. Some people yelling, whistling, whatever.
Yeah.
And then out walks Ian McDermott right after John and I are sitting there going, is that Mark Hamill laughing? Yeah. Is that Mark Hamill? Yeah.
I thought it was Mark Hamill. Yeah. It sounded like Mark Hamill. And I was like, I freaked out for a second. I'm like, no, that's not Mark Hamill.
So, and just to make their point, this was brilliant on their part.
It's the best trailer. I really do think that's the best trailer. But anyway,
well, just getting Ian to walk out was brilliant, and we're like, we are on our feet, like screaming.
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
And when you watch it, he like starts to do it and starts laughing because everyone is screaming.
Yes.
And like he tried to keep a straight face and he couldn't do it because everybody was just going like, freaking out.
Yes.
yeah,
And then he had to like compose himself, close his eyes, and then he was able to do his, roll it again.
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. Like some of my top like 5 Star Wars moments are like
Back to back.
they're not like directly like the movies.
No.
It's like
Yeah.
things that I experienced.
Got you there. Yeah.
Like my Force Awakens experience, I'll never forget. I'm sad that like neither one of you were there.
Yeah.
Mine was not a good experience.
If they ever put Force Awakens back in theater, I think we should just do it.
Yeah, we got
Just pretend it's the first time we're seeing it.
Because my crew, by the way, Troy, Michael, Sean, you guys need to go to Celebration. But we went so early to go to this thing. I mean, it's all it's almost
this
like
is 2015. Before
this is 2015. This is
No.
before
Yeah.
Celebration.
reverse.
Yeah, so the
reserve seatings.
spark that lit the fire inside of
Yeah.
Fandom was already there at this moment.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just those kind of experiences.
Well, what was it? Explain.
No, I'm just saying like we went so early and
okay.
like the news was there filming us running to the theater.
So
'Cause
sick.
this is pre normalizing reserve seats in Baton Rouge.
Mhm.
So I am hauling to theater 8 or whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm like, we're about to go see a Star Wars.
It's
And
huge.
just, there was like maybe 2 people in front of us in line. So, but it was like a mini celebration in itself.
Yeah.
And those kind of moments were like, I don't know, like it's such a hard thing to capture. But, I think with Mando coming out and everything, John and I shared one, I wouldn't say recently, but we had one, I had watched of Mando episodes 1 through 7 at my house, and it was great. But that last episode, I had waited all day. We're going to John's house that night, and Eric didn't show up on time. I think you were doing something for work. But
Watch it on the big screen and with
we
the
watched on the big screen, and
that
when,
dark saber.
when the dark saber show, whoa, because you would know what it was at that point, but not
No, I hadn't got to that point in the
the show. No,
Yeah.
it would have
Yeah.
hit harder. But I unfortunately I saw that leak that day, and it was like it hit, but it wasn't as I would have probably pissed myself if I had not seen the leak. But with all that being said, we would have been at a celebration today.
Mhm.
And I if you want to, let's guess what we would have saw. I know we would have saw the Mando trailer probably
For
yesterday,
sure.
for the Friday. We would have definitely got the Mando trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday would have been a dead day. But this is where the brain kind of can wander. What would have Saturday and Sunday have been? Because they would have been huge. Definitely one of them would have been the new Lego game, or like some part of the new Lego game, or Squadrons, both of the new games.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of shows,
I don't know that they could have done anything with Kenobi.
maybe just a panel that was like super loose and concept arty. I bet that would have been it. I really do.
I don't know if they could have done anything with that, but I definitely Mando would have been one. But I think
Huge.
they might have had some announcement.
Empire 40. I didn't think when Empire Strikes Back 40.
That is true. They might have had they had to have had a bigger announcement.
Yeah.
And it probably would have been something to do with like a new trilogy, and they probably would have been announced something, but I don't think I think last Celebration we talked about them doing like the future of Star Wars or like some kind of thing like that, or then maybe would have talked about I think that would have been under the future of Star Wars. I think they would have, because I just don't know. And I think that is why when they did delay it, they put it off for 2 years, because, with the way everything's been going, that I just don't know that they would have felt there would have been enough. Like, it's like, if we're waiting this long, we might as well do 2 years to when we actually have,
a whole new slate.
Kenobi, Mando, the new trilogy that's going to come out,
Caspian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a good move on their part, but at the same time, like, hearing that news that it was going to be 2 years was just brutal. It was like,
and like,
it's like 2.5 years, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
When we found out.
Yeah, it was.
It's about 2 years from now. It's August, right?
That'd been August.
Yeah.
2 years from now.
Yeah, 2 years.
How many days was this one supposed to be? Like the four?
Four,
okay,
not
so
5.
last year was a little longer.
But the next one could be another 5, which
Yeah,
I'd be down with.
If they were going to do what they've been doing, they were going to leave Friday and Saturday for like kind of bigger things, and then Sunday probably done Empire.
Yeah.
There would have been some good guests because there was an.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I mean,
God, everyone.
George would have been there for sure.
Yeah, George. Well, Empire definitely. You know, it's another big thing that no one's brought up yet.
Here we go.
By the time we are at Celebration Anaheim in 2022, it'll be 20 years since Attack of the Clones. So we can get Hayden, Ewan, maybe even Natalie.
Sam Jackson.
George will definitely do a video thing where I love you all. Or he could do straight up an appearance, like.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be wild. I think
it might be the best.
He's gonna have to be there in 2022. I mean,
Taika, there's
Taika's gonna be there.
Taika, there's gonna be people there that we did not expect, and y'all were in rooms, the same exact room as Colbert and JJ and Daisy and Ray, Daisy, all of them, were in that room.
How close do you think we were? Like 30 feet?
Yeah, we were on for the big panel. We were on row 6, so we were like 20, 30 feet.
I will say the air in that room was like so anxiety inducing, and
yeah.
I really tend not to like jump to those kind of words, but we're all sitting there. Like there's just like a dryness in the air.
Yeah, everyone is like literally silent, listening to every.
It barely laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of the Skywalker saga. It's a big thing. I'm really excited where Celebration could go because
that won't be looming over anymore.
No, it'll be the thing that happens is when something gets released for real, like all of a sudden it's exposed to judgment. And I think the nice thing about Celebration is that the title of the event is so indicative of the process. Because we're literally just there.
There's no judgment. It's pure celebration.
We are literally there just excited that there's new Star Wars.
Yeah.
And coming from somebody who just basically gave up on it for almost 10 years, or not 10 years, I guess like 7-ish, which,
But still, we
it's
all
a long
did.
time.
Well, yeah, I definitely did after the prequels.
Yeah, I was just like, well, this is over now.
Yep.
Time to move on to whatever. To know that like I get to go visit these places that I like grew up with. I don't know. That's what it is for us, John. It's a whole different thing for you.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. But that's the beautiful thing about it. So we just get to be there and we get to revel in the whole thing. We're always joking about going, and like when Scott has kids, we're like, well, we're gonna have to figure that out like before until they can go.
Maybe they'll have a daycare.
Oh my God, all of it. Like there's
Watto's daycare.
It's so there's so many thoughts that go through my head of like, I don't think where I'll be when I get to the next celebration mentally. I just know I have to be there. In terms of like finance, I could have lost my job. I could be homeless. Literally, I would think.
Doesn't matter. I'm gonna get there.
How am I gonna get to celebration? And like right now, we've gotten really lucky with our video, and like, I mean, I don't want to brag, but we're still making monetized money off of the Rise of Skywalker reaction.
Dude, I'll say it. Some part of me is like a little nervous that Scott's gonna be a mini celebrity, like a C-level celebrity at celebration, and we're gonna have him for like 2 panels, and like the David Collins Attack of the Clones panel.
All he has to do is just have a picture on a shirt of you going. Yeah.
And then everybody will sound like Obi-Wan. Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Hello there.
So,
literally, it's gonna be different. I will admit that. This is what sounds real surreal. By the time we are at Celebration 2022 Anaheim, Bombadcast would be 3 years old. That's insane. Like that's so unbelievable. But like when it comes down to it, it might be different. But there's something to it. There is now going to be a work aspect to it for me. But I mean, you never know where y'all will be in 2 years. I mean, you're working on a pretty big project together that could even elevate y'all to a different level of status. And
yeah, we might get a Lucasfilm show immediately. They'll sign us and then fire us.
We'll have a panel
right before it comes out.
I'll be y'all's host, and then I'll say how much I love Kaz.
And the Duffer brothers are going to take over.
John's treatments are going to be used by the Duffer brothers. It's going to be great. I don't know how it's going to happen. It's going to be great.
Oh my gosh. No, I mean that is one exciting thing about it. It's going to be ever evolving.
Yeah.
Like if you thought that, like, can you imagine if we were VIP in 17 for the 40th anniversary?
Ooh.
And then, that wasn't our experience, so I can't really speak on it. But
Yeah.
I would say that 2019 as a whole was just like bigger and better,
Yeah.
more fair.
Yeah, better thought out for sure.
Can you imagine being in line and like for 2022 and like Taika doing like the Ryan Johnson thing, walking through the line, giving everyone his little 2 cents?
Yep.
It's just going to be bigger, and like I don't know, like at some point it's not going to top it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if John, you watched, but I know Scott did the coverage of the 2016 one in London.
Oh my god,
that was a learning process for them, because it's now become almost like a
way less of a fan event.
Yeah, it's not. It's a convention, but it's really. I mean, DC just did this the other day. It's an announcement
weekend.
It's an announcement weekend for all the new things going on.
Yeah. Huge. And it's special. And like, anyone that is a Star Wars fan really should find some way. I mean, this sounds really bad. I don't know your financial situation, anyone that's listening, but if you start saving today, you will not regret. I'm dead serious. It could be $10 a month. I really think by then you'll be doing pretty. No, actually not $10 a month, but $100 a month, you'll be doing really well. But like, it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
It is, but I don't want to downplay the fact that like it's a limited thing.
Oh,
we got very lucky. John's internet is killer, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, like, you had a great experience, and you were a 4-day pass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if I don't know, there's reasons to go, even if you can't. We're a little bit in the spoiled category. Like, it would be hard for us not to do Jedi Master.
Yeah.
But I think I would still go.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would absolutely still go if I didn't have the because now, I mean, even then, the lottery system makes it so much more fair for the panels that literally it was like if you wanted to see a panel, the way they had it set up was you had to go stand in line like 24 hours before for all the big panels. Anyone who didn't have a Jedi pass stood in that line for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
Which is like, to me, that would be fun. That'd be a fun experience. But at the same time, you're missing a whole day of Star Wars celebration. And so I think they realize that. And now it's it's more random.
Which is fair.
It's fair. Yeah. And it's very fair. But, I think that's what makes just the regular pass an even better deal now, is you actually have a chance, even though you don't have the same, you're not right up at the front, or you're not the first person in.
Yeah.
But still, you are in this room, you're with this group of people, and it is still the same energy when you are not a VIP as it is. And, so I would definitely encourage anyone, if you don't want to go through all that, they do sell out. Like when we bought it, they sold out in about 3 seconds, like 3 to 4 seconds. And you have to be fast when you get it. And I think they will sell some more for the next one. It'll be very limited, I'm sure. But
I might end up having to get one.
Yeah, it'll be very limited. But for the most part, the 4-day is like, doesn't really sell. I mean, it sells out quick, but it doesn't sell out fast enough that you have to be refreshing.
No, it sells out within probably a day and a half. That's it.
And it's very affordable. It's
super affordable. Literally $225. Like that's amazing for 4 full days of this thing, and like
for what you get.
The chance of exclusivity, like the fact that I got that Darth Maul figure, and I believe you got the Obi-Wan figure as well.
I got the Darth Maul one too.
Yeah, exactly. Like y'all had VIP. I think y'all had did y'all get lotteries for those? Or did y'all have?
No, we had lotteries too.
So
we won the lottery for that.
Me as well. So like that is a really amazing chance, and like not that I'm gonna sell it, but looking at the resale value of that one alone is insane. Like $150. Literally, the beanie from the episode 9 panel is like $80. So like, if you wanted to turn your money around afterwards, you really can. Like, you really truly can. Like, I got a Rebels poster there, and they're this is pretty under the table, but you can barter with like the people that are selling like the poster cases. They will buy what you have on you and then sell it to the next person that wants to own it. You know what I mean? Like, I got a Rebels poster from their like Dave's like Rebels Remembered panel, and like this dude bought it for me for $60, and I'm like, I just got this for free. Like I don't even like, and I turned around and bought whatever I wanted with it. It was amazing. Stuff like that.
I just had a really random memory. John, do you remember we're in the or maybe I was with you, I don't know. We're in the if I was with you, we would have done something, I think. We're in the merch hall and Doug Chang's in there, like gosh. Buying stuff. Oh, John, was that you and me?
That was definitely
okay.
It wasn't me.
Okay,
it wasn't me.
Dude.
I don't know who you were with.
Okay, I was in there. John, I feel like it was the last day we were shopping, and we might not have been together, but I like ran up to y'all and I was like, dude, Doug Chang is in here. And I don't think we had met him yet.
Yeah.
And people were just like walking up and I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna go up to him.
Oh, I remember that. People were bombing him.
Yeah. And he was just so gracious. So and that's something we could talk about real quick. Another perk, if you do happen to get a Jedi Master badge, you sometimes get these exclusive meetups, and we got to meet Doug Chang, and me, John, and Wes took a picture with him. And I got to shake his hand back when that was socially acceptable. And I got to tell him that I watch the beginning, the documentary of the making of Phantom Menace every year. And he was just like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just like, appreciate it. I was like, this is so cool.
So sick.
And I got him to sign my badge.
Yep.
So awesome.
Look at that. Let me get it on large for you, John. Incredible.
Yeah.
So awesome.
We're like, are you okay signing our badges? And he was just like, of course.
Yeah. It's like, that was so cool getting to meet him, and especially after his panel and everything. And like, I, as a newer Star Wars fan, didn't quite realize his impact and everything. And after witnessing that, I was like, this guy is huge. And it was, that was really cool. And like, he was so positive, and there was probably a line of 150 people that he went through. And like every single one, he like shook their hand, signed, like talked to them, took a picture. Like, it wasn't just like, how are you? It was like genuine conversation with every single person. So it was crazy.
That's the charm of it, though.
Yeah,
there's to that, and like, honestly, it's like you don't see that many examples of like people being rude or mean to each other at Celebration. Usually,
absolutely not. Pretty
non-judgmental, and everyone's kind of kind to each other. Now you've gotten some people that are like yelling Star Wars ships, and you want to make fun of them. And
but I mean, it's all in good fun, because I feel like there's not a lot of negativity at Star Wars Celebration, even though like in the Star Wars fandom, there's like a very divisive group of people who like the sequels, people who didn't like this movie, people who didn't like this director, whatever. But at Star Wars Celebration, it doesn't exist. Everyone's just excited to talk about Star Wars, to watch Star Wars, and pretty much, I mean, every now and then you'll catch a whiff of something, but for the most part, there's no negativity. People are, everyone is extremely positive. Everyone we met was super nice.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever really had any experiences with any rude people, nothing like that.
Well, it's funny because like there's something else that happens there too. Like Gerry kept feeling he was a third wheel to Katie and I for one of the days, and we never felt like that at all. We're like, oh, dude, we love having you around. And there's something about that. Like even if you go by yourself, like Gerry went by himself, and he made so many friends that one weekend because he didn't have anyone to go with. Even if you want to go alone, you could still do it. Or go in a group of 3. I mean, it's never not going to be boring. Like even if you get to if you don't get to the big panels at all,
you will make friends.
You'll make friends regardless. And like it's weird. There was one photo I found going through my phone, and like I posted on Twitter. Literally, it was like 8 people that I've like associated with now through Twitter and through content creating that were all in this one photo. And I was like, what are the odds of this? You know what I mean? Like these people you meet, especially if you're belonging to a Facebook group or whatever, is huge. And like that doesn't go away, And I'm very thankful for my experience at Celebrations, both of them. And I think 2022 might even be the best one,
Yeah. Maybe we'll go to Shake Shack and actually be at the right one this time.
And meet Dave.
Yeah. That's a whole thing. We almost ate dinner with Dave.
We spent 2 hours at a Shake Shack just talking and hanging out, Eric and I. The night of Game of Thrones, you're all watching it. We spent a bunch of time there. We literally were scrolling through, I think it was Reddit, and this dude posted like, oh, I just met Dave at Shake Shack. And we were like, which Shake Shack? And of course,
The other one.
the other one, one of like the 3 in Chicago. So pissed.
Oh man.
You're just kidding.
Also, this is kind of like random, but like it's amazing to be in a big city like Orlando or Chicago, and then you just like walk outside like downtown, and it's all these Star Wars fans wearing like t-shirts, shirts on. All these people, and they're like, "You saw that trailer?"
Yeah.
Just
even like every restaurant we went to, it was just all like at Portillo's, which is like miles and miles away.
Yeah,
it was all Star Wars fans.
It's
like they just took over the city. It was great.
It's kind of like being and we're all from the same area. We're all from Baton Rouge, and one of the best football teams in the nation belong here. And like literally, like go Tigers is how you say goodbye to people when you leave a. You know, like I'm sure when you were getting your propane or whatever for your tank today, I'm sure someone had an LSU shirt on or LSU flip flops on, and I'm sure John, when you left, you said "Go Tigers." It's just like, part of it. I don't know. It's just that's it. It's kind of like that. You're just like in this whole area for even if it's a brief amount of time, they're there and someone has their Millennium Falcon shirt on.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for when we go to Anaheim because we'll be able to go to Disneyland. Or honestly, if they do it in Orlando again and just like fix it up, Orlando would be a great experience again. And I'm sure they'll do it eventually, just because the park's there.
Definitely.
But yeah, you know what you need to do?
What?
Need to ask the big 3 questions to John officially.
John,
this is not celebration related, but it's all Star Wars.
You know what? I want to do it right now. I didn't even prep John on this one. So we're not going to end the conversation here because I want to ask John about. Well, I want to ask both of y'all about one thing in particular before we end. But John, I asked this at every guest. I've asked this to Mac DeMarco. I've asked this to Eric before. Troy, everyone you name, I've asked them to. So, John, on the Bombadcast, I know you've listened. We have this categorization of Star Wars movies, and it is best, favorite, and most fun. They all don't have to be the same one. They can all be different ones for different reasons. But
best,
John,
favorite, and most fun.
Yeah. So we can start off with probably the most difficult. What, in your opinion, is the best Star Wars movie?
I hate to be that guy.
Here we go.
But Episode 4.
Oh,
I hate to be that guy.
Oh, that's actually not what I thought you would have said.
What? You thought I was going to say 3?
I was going to say Empire. I thought you say Empire would be the best.
Interesting. One. No, I'm a very there's a lot that I like about 4, and I feel like I'm really into the indie-ness of it and like the cinema aspect of like, how everything was done and kind of like being in that situation myself of like trying to get something up off the ground and like being resourceful and like seeing the product that came out, way back when is just incredible.
I agree.
So that to me is the best.
That might be the first one I've ever heard that. And it's so funny because A New Hope for me changes a lot. Like I don't know where I sit with it.
That's the OG though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was the one that set up the universe with so much strength.
That is Star Wars.
Yeah, you're right. It set up that universe really well. So that's the best to you. Okay. I can see that. Now, most fun. Oh, I'm sorry. It would be favorite.
Favorite.
Like, which is the one that you might go back to the most in terms of like rewatchability and like the one that you kind of fall on?
Favorite. Ooh, I would have to say Episode 1.
Yes!
Oh, nice.
Yes! I don't think Eric's ever heard this from you before.
No.
I know I haven't.
No.
Yes!
That's a hard favorite is hard because I could definitely say my most fun, but favorite Episode 1.
Wow.
I mean, there especially after Celebration and the whole Doug Chang panel and the music, just everything about it. I love Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor. I mean,
yeah.
It's got everything for me.
That's amazing. I wouldn't have expected that, to be honest with you. I don't know what I would have expected.
No, I don't know.
Like favorite's a weird one because favorite changes a lot, but maybe not to you. Favorite for me changes a lot because Tross was it for a while, and it's always been Return of the Jedi or now The Rise of Skywalker because I just love what they do,
Yeah.
But most fun is interesting because you seem pretty confident in this next one. Most fun, John Shaw.
1.
No way. Yes.
I'm a big fan of 1. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the sequels. I love the prequels. I love all, the original, but one's got it for me. I mean, that has to be the most fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's mine. I think it's yours too.
Yeah.
And Troy's.
Mine's I like Solo. I think Solo's really fun.
Oh yeah.
But
see, I wasn't including the original because Rogue One would be a tie for best for me.
Dang. Okay.
It would be exactly an equal tie with
wow.
With it would be Rogue One is phenomenal. Yeah. Everything about it.
Yeah. So most fun is the Phantom Menace.
Absolutely. I mean, we
absolutely
look, we might be a little biased because I think it's just something about being all of us were born in between the mid-90s. So something about it probably still speaks to us.
It's just got it.
Yeah.
It does have it. And I think the more this generation grows up, the more it's literally, the more the generation grows up, the more everyone can admit now that there's nothing really wrong with it. And exactly. Sure, you've got someone you work with that cannot stand it. I respect that. You don't have to love them. You don't have to love any of them. You could actually hate Star Wars and call yourself a fan. Yeah. But it's hard to deny how important that movie was because it was really important, and it still continued what the originals did. Might not be the same, but it had one of the best. The Force Awakens is another one. Anytime they have to start something new, not easy. But something about that movie just captures Star Wars for the next generation really well.
Yep.
Even if it's something really stupid, the way Watto talks. I love watching that. I love watching that movie.
Yeah, I do too.
There's not many movies I truly get giddy over watching. And the BTS is amazing.
Oh, it's one of the greatest documentaries of all time. Straight up.
It's better than the one about the whale at SeaWorld. It's better than
It's incredible. It's it really is they don't really make them like that anymore. No. It is very dense.
Very honest.
It's very dense.
Very honest.
Very honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could write an essay on that documentary. I really could. It's just great.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. That's an incredible answer. We all love the Phantom Menace and this bubble of the Bombad world.
It's weird. I don't know. I don't know many other podcasts that would say their claim to fame is how much they like the Phantom Menace, but I think in our own weird realm that I think our circle of people really like the Phantom Menace.
Well, you know what the goal is? Scott needs to interview Ahmed Best. It needs to go down, even if it's in real life.
Yeah.
Needs to happen.
Or Rick McCallum.
Or Rick McCallum, dude.
It's gonna happen.
It's got to be somewhere in that spectrum of people.
Yes.
Or George. Dude, imagine just talking to George about the Phantom Menace for an hour. That's the dream.
Dude, I could probably die right after that. Honestly.
just for an hour straight. John, those are some great answers, man. Those really,
I appreciate it.
Some different ones. Wow. Because most people don't do the two of the same one after another.
I know.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
No.
Yeah. Just because there's so many.
They want to differentiate it. Yeah, there is so many. Yeah. To kind of wrap all this up, all right? Now, John, I know we've talked about it before, but John himself is trying to create his own universe. And this is a very legitimate thing. It's not something that everyone talks about in theory. I'm thinking about starting a show. We actually have someone right here, if no one's familiar with him yet, if he doesn't blow up for the next week. John is working on a serious project, something that he is very passionate about and that Eric is also involved with. And hopefully at some point I can be involved with as well. But John, tell us more about Tavern Brawl. Fill us in a little bit on that, and my listeners as well, because I've brought it up before in previous episodes, but hearing it from the man himself would be really nice.
Yeah, sure. So Tavern Brawl is a live-action fantasy series that is currently being developed by me, my partner James, and Eric. And so it's kind of just been this fun project that we've been working on about 2 or 3 years now. And so we did a Kickstarter right before COVID hit, literally February. We got in just in the nick of time. We did a Kickstarter because we were going to make our pilot episode after we did a whole bunch of prep for it. We did like a little short film, all that kind of stuff. And we were funded. We were successful on our Kickstarter, which was just amazing. And so, we're in a situation now where we're doing a lot of pre-production, but we're thinking, if everything is okay with COVID, that we're going to be filming early next year. And so it's been a crazy process because I've been, I have a degree in film from LSU, and like I have worked with video and film stuff forever, but like doing all this is such a different experience, and like it's there's so much to what we're doing that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And when George was making Star Wars Episode 1, he probably had thousands of people at his disposal to just help with everything, and it's like literally me, James, and Eric right now are the only people that have any kind of sense of what is happening. And so as we get, further along, we're going to expand it where we're going to have a bigger crew and we're going to have more people. But, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's more work than I thought it would be. But we just want to make sure we do it right because, we want to make sure it's very story focused. And I think everybody is a sucker for a good story, and you can forgive a lot of bad things. But if a story is bad, you can't forgive it. So
I agree. And like, the project they're working on is primarily rooted in the genre of fantasy, but the cool thing is you can play with that genre kind of like Star Wars does, Star Wars is sci-fi, but it's also fantasy. And, wherever you or location or concept you set your story in is really important. I think it takes a budget to pull off what you're going to pull off. And, and I want to say this too, because for anyone that doesn't realize this, but, John also is working on a project with I forget his name, the guy that not Defunctland. Fill me in. The opposite. Brightson, not
Defunctland.
Here we go.
That's a good description.
So Brightson Films is something you're also involved in, right? But you're more of a producer role from that. You're not actually writing. And
yeah.
It's funny because people in their head, and I'm the same way. You get these preconceived ideas of what it means to actually write and make something. And look, I'm going to be honest here. John's the real deal when it comes down to certain stuff. Like John and I have worked, all three of us have worked on a short film that we've been working on for almost 2 years now called Owl's Nest. And like John's now a star of it. We had to do some last minute casting, but when it comes down to it, like, you meet these people that are really good idealists and they have these great ideas, right? But at no point will they ever act on them. There's very few people that I know that have ever acted on a creative idea, and John, you are definitely one of them. And I think it's an important thing to note. But John, he's got the legitimate setup guys, so you're not hearing it from some Yahoo that has a flip camera. They're about to go make a fantasy film, like it's not that level, and it takes a lot of balls to pull something off that you want to pull off. If you don't mind, maybe fill us in on the lore of it, because I think my listeners or Bombadcast fans probably would cling to something like this, because I know it has a little bit of a Star Warsy feel.
Yeah, it does. It does have. I mean, I would like to say it's influenced by Star Wars, but it's influenced by a lot of stuff. And so basically, it's your classic medieval fantasy world. You have all the different races of elves, goblins, humans, dwarves, all that. And so there's this group called the Wayfarers, who were essentially these wandering nomads who helped anyone who needed it. And they possessed this magic ability that, whenever they had this crystal called Arctium, they were able to channel it, and they were able to perform these feats of magic. And it was mostly storm-based magic, so calling down lightning, healing people. They could shift the winds. They could do all kinds of cool stuff. And so about 200 years prior to our story, there was a big battle, a big event with this evil queen, and most of the Wayfarers were wiped out. And where our story takes place now is they've essentially all been hunted down and killed by this group called the Order of Dawn. And the Order is not happy about the Wayfarers, and essentially, they've kind of drifted off into the lore where it's been 200 years. Nobody even really believes that they exist anymore. and anyone who's caught doing any kind of magic, any kind of sorcery, is essentially disappeared by the Order of Dawn, who is this kind of religious zealot type military organization. Think of like the Navy SEALs meet like a cult.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where our story takes place. And so what we really wanted to do with Tavern Brawl is your classic fantasy is always about the hero, and it's always about, the underdog, and it's about your typical fantasy hero. And so we decided, how about our heroes are the people who are normally swept under the rug, and these are the people who are normally ignored. And so, like, if you've ever played any kind of like D&D or any kind of role-playing game or anything, it all starts in a tavern, and everything is, and so our tavern is the central aspect to our story. And if there's one place that every fantasy person knows, it's a medieval tavern. And so that is the heart of our story. And our main characters are the owners of this tavern, and they're typically characters who would be like B or C characters in a regular fantasy show like Game of Thrones or, Lord of the Rings or something. This would be somebody who would be on the screen for 30 seconds and then it would be over. And so we kind of really like that idea of like turning these traditional fantasy tropes on their heads and having a lot of fun with that. So that's kind of where we're at. We're going to have a lot more coming out, but if you are interested, we did a short film that kind of has a lot of the lore that I just talked about. It's on our website, which is tavernbrawl.com. Not a hard site to find.
It's really sick. I had the opportunity to see some of the footage of it and everything, when it was released to YouTube, and Eric showed me some stuff prior, and it's just like, I don't know, it's really there, and it's hard to say that with most stuff. Like, really there is kind of it's supposed to be a compliment, it's not supposed to be like a blanket statement. It really is like it's there. And like, if you watch, there's a scene towards the end of the Wayfarer where it has the shots of it where them in the forest, like, y'all, it's like Stranger Things Netflix tier cinematography and look and editing. It's just like, it's got it. And it's funny because we're all in the same age group, and to want to pursue something that's pretty dense, like you just described in terms of story, it takes some tenacity to really pull something off like this. And like, I know it's stressful in the process, but I don't want to guarantee anything, but I know the outcomes will be pretty damn good, because someone I know, like both of you, are putting your hearts into it and trying to figure it out and make it work, and the equipment y'all have for it is top of the level. I mean, it's what they film Avengers with. Like, it's like that. It really is. It's the red camera that they film, all these huge productions with. So like, I don't know. I don't want anyone to leave this episode thinking, oh, it's just another YouTube clip. You know what I mean? It's just another thing that's swept under the rug with this statement of it being, how would you say?
No, I mean, everybody has gone on YouTube and seen, like, there's a reason that people don't make low budget fantasy.
Yeah.
Because people try and do too much, and they try and do, I want to be on a green screen fighting a dragon and a mountain with flames. And then they end up doing it with like, a $500 budget, and it looks awful.
Yeah.
And so
no one takes it seriously.
No. And so one of our biggest things is we have said to ourselves 1,000 times over, we are not going to if we can't do it well, we are not doing it.
Yeah.
So I would so much rather have less effects, less everything, a solid story. And like what I told you just now, that's probably like 5 or 10% of everything we have. And so we've delved super in depth into this rich world. And like, I feel like that at this point, if anything, we have overdone it on how much we prepared our story. Because like, if we're not picked up or not successful, it's going to be sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
the risk.
We essentially already know how season 3 is going to end if we do get picked up, because there's so many shows that it's like they have the pilot, they have the premise, and then there's nothing else. And it's like, so, that we want to make sure that everyone understands that. We had, if you watch our short film, it was fun, and we did it pretty insanely low budget on DSLRs, and it's not the highest quality thing ever, but I think our story's solid, and that's why I think our Kickstarter was successful, is because that was able to resonate with people. Is like, we wanted to show everyone, hey, this is what we can do. Imagine with this story and this, dedication, but on a much larger budget, and then essentially when we're pitching our pilot, it's going to be the same thing. It's like, hey, this is what we did on, a $25,000 budget. Imagine what we could do, on like an actual, because like an actual TV show budget is usually a couple $100,000 for a pilot. It's up to a couple million for like a fantasy, heavy VFX stuff. So
yeah, it's important to state that the work ethic is not the work ethic for y'all is very intense, and people have this idea that anyone that gets into media or content making do it because it's something to do. But for someone like John, and I know this for a fact, it's like pretty much whenever at one point when you reflect back at your life in your middle 20s, this is going to be the biggest part of it. You know what I mean? And hopefully it'll continue to be the biggest part of it. And like retrospectively, I don't know, there's something really cool to saying, even if it doesn't pick up the fact that you freaking did it, which most people never do to begin with,
Yeah, that's what we said going into the Kickstarter. It was like, if this fails, we'll have said we did it and we're happy with what we did. And, it's something, because like you said, so many people, and I'm one of them, I've talked about projects and I've started things that I've never finished. And like,
me too.
My partner as well. And it was like the fact that we finished this, we did it, we self-funded it, all that. And, and so having it be successful was really reassuring and really awesome, because it was just so validating to know that all this stuff was not for waste, and it did resonate, at least with, the 100 people who donated to our Kickstarter.
Sure, of course.
Now the real fun begins if we can make something that resonates with like a larger audience. So.
Exactly. And like, I don't know, something about Star Wars did it, and it was really guerrilla, and it was very unexpected. And I mean, it's a different world. I will admit that it's not the same as it was before in terms of what the 70s was like compared to 2020. But now this is an important statement, because, anyone can pick up a camera and make a fantasy show.
That's true. It's actually easier than it is ever. But now there's so much content.
And that's the thing.
It's hard to weed through it. You
got to make sure it's one of those ones that you want other people to view and take seriously. And I'm going to say it here. There's very few people, whenever they speak, that I take seriously, but this one and this one are a part of that crew that, if they want to do something, they're going to achieve it, and they're going to make it the best they possibly can. Because, I mean, why would you do anything if you don't do it 100%? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, they can even be making a song, like anything like that. It's the attention to detail is what really sets people apart. And I don't know, for my listeners, stay on the lookout for John and, what he has in store and what we're all working on together as well. It's just fun. I don't know.
Scott and Gerry may have to be the tag and bank of Tavern Brawl. This is the first statement I made as like an on-hand producer. This is
this is it. Official.
This is my first 2 cents. Do you know what tag and bank is, John? It's like it's this old. They don't really do it anymore. Right?
It came out in the prequel era of Star Wars, John, where it was primarily just like these two dudes in the background, like, and you don't see them in the movies. There's in the background comics of every major event of Star Wars. Like they were awesome. Jedi during Order 66, then they were the troopers on the Death Star at one point, and then they became, part of Jabba's people. And Kevin Rubio is the content creator. He actually is the guy that wrote the classic Troops YouTube video. Well, not even YouTube, just internet video in general.
That's awesome.
But
yeah, I'm down.
We'll just have Scott and Gerry in the background, like
And I want you guys to be the to spearhead the Tavern Brawl podcast scene.
I'm down, man.
We can do after the episode review with you
Talking
guys.
with the creators. Oh my God. Like Beyond Stranger Things, whatever it's called. They have after their thing. Literally, I'm down. And I know y'all have pitched the idea of doing a Tavern Brawl exclusive audio drama, essentially podcast. So also down to help create something like that, because it's, I don't know, there's something to making content that has to be community based. And like, honestly, I wouldn't be involved with anything creative with John if it wasn't for Eric. You know what I mean? Because we're all working on a short film right now that Kevin's writing and making and editing and designing and doing everything for that. And it's just like, I don't know. There's something to this world of maybe being young and being ambitious, but I mean,
it's the time to do it.
It's the time to do it, and COVID's kind of helping in a really weird way. It's helping and it's not. But like, I mean, we're literally remotely recording this podcast, and it's like so nice that I get to visit and talk with John for a little bit about this stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But anyway, for all my listeners, like I said, tavernball.com. Go look at John's stuff.
Check us out.
It's phenomenal. Eric, a part of the crew. John, part of the crew. Jerry and I are the tag and beak of the universe. But John, anything else you want to plug before we sign off this episode?
Not that I can think of. I'm excited that I finally got to be on the Bombadcast.
Yes.
After literally witnessing its inception by meeting Gerry and meeting you on like probably the same day.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was.
You know, and getting to see, listen to your guys' first episodes and watch them, and hear as everything progressed. It's exciting that I finally got to be on it. So thanks for having me.
Of course, it's nice having you, because it's like, I don't know, it's something you got to keep going. I know we're friends behind the after the mic gets turned off, but like, you've got a great voice, and it needs to be voiced at some point.
I appreciate
especially in terms of Star Wars, and Eric is the honorary host, pretty much. I mean, we'll see from here on out. He might be a staple of the Bombadcast. You never know.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. But I mean, like, it seems like every 5th episode Eric shows up. So I mean,
always in future.
You can just Photoshop his face on Jar Jar's on your logo. Just put Eric's over Jar Jar.
Just right there.
Yeah, if y'all get on at best, I'll straight up be like runner. Like I'll go get him a coffee, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're flying to LA for that.
Dude, or when Mac wants to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it.
Bring Mac back.
That is going to
start it.
I thought about reaching out recently. I didn't tell you that, but I thought about just see him. Just if he wants a little extra promotion.
Like, how cool is that? Somebody like that, like we could just like sit and talk Star Wars with. That's like one of the greatest things about this thing.
That's the thing with Star Wars. That's what makes it special. Is like, I mean, there have been moments where I've been in a Costco and they see my shirt, and it's literally a Bombadcast shirt, and they go, "Oh, that's Jar Jar," and I'm like, "Yeah," like,
yep,
something about it. I don't know.
That's incredible.
I'm glad I brought all of us together. Like, truly, it did.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Would y'all even still be close friends if it wasn't for Celebration? Like, let's be real.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Life has a way.
I know. Yeah, there's no way to know. I could easily see us not have becoming as good of friends without Star Wars Celebration.
That bond. It's huge.
And definitely wouldn't be friends with you without
Yeah, that's true. 100%. But John, thank you for your time. Eric, thank you for your time.
Of course.
I appreciate it. So anyone that is still listening, I know you still are, I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. Hope you can go and be sure to subscribe to Beyond the Blast Doors Network. Be sure to check out the Podathon, which will be happening next Saturday. And I may be doing music for it. We're trying to work the logistics out of that. So I may be doing looped music in between shows. So it'll be a lot. But please remember to share this, like this. Give us 5 stars on iTunes if you listen there. And give us a review if you can. If you really liked it, go to Patreon. Support us at Beyond the Blast Doors. I'm sorry, patreon.com/Beyond the Blast Doors. You can keep up with us there. You can follow us on Twitter at Bombadcast. But John, do us a favor. What should the wonderful guests do at the very to close out the show for I guess every episode? What should they do?
Stay Bombad, I guess. I can't do the Mac DeMarco voice.
That was so John Shaw, the way you said.
I know. I can't do.
I guess.
Stay Bombad.